got a video to watch that we never seen before. About a video game that we're sure to avoid.
It's morphin' time! Go, go, Power Rangers! Yeah. So, I still got this. Like, you old school Power Ranger heads will know what this is.
Somebody,
Saba.
did a screenshot of where I was holding it up to your neck, like that the other day. Put it on the Discord, and like somebody else, I guess, who hadn't seen the video, like recognized that and was like, "Wait a minute!"
Yep. So many memories of just me running around the house, just.
Yeah, I never had the White Ranger dagger. I had the.
Did you have the flute, the Green Ranger dagger?
No, I had the original Power Rangers weapons.
Oh, like
so I had the black axe and the
axe was my favorite.
Yellow daggers. And
yeah, treaty
size.
Yeah.
And then my buddy next door had the red sword and the pink bow. And
so y'all had the whole
shebang. We could take them all and put them together into the big, like, ultimate gun thing, you know, ultimate crossbow looking thing.
Yeah. I told the story about how my dad, where we didn't have the money for the Green Ranger one back when I was a kid, he crafted one out of wood for me, and I wish to God I could find it. I wish I could find it somewhere, but still got this, though. Plus, I still got a bunch of the Zords in there.
I always wanted the original Zords, but I only managed to get the second gen Zords.
That's basically me, too, man. Anyway, this reminiscing about Power Rangers has been brought to you by a pair of nerds in a basement. Stay tuned for more.
But not our mother's basement.
Oh, no. My basement. This makes me feel old. Anyway.
It's because we are old.
Shut up. I know, I'm 36. I hate myself. Whoa! Oh. Oh God, it's terrible! Oh.
Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue was released in the year 2000 for the Game Boy Color, PlayStation, and Nintendo 64. The games are based on the 8th series of the Power Rangers TV franchise.
A string of TV shows that integrated martial arts,
I didn't get that
action,
far when
comedy.
I watched.
Me neither. I made it to. I remembered when I stopped watching full time.
Those dudes.
Bulk and Skull.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bulkmeyer and Skullovich. I remember that. The season of Power Rangers Turbo where everybody except Justin, the kid, got replaced. I stopped watching on that season of Turbo.
I think I quit after seeing like the first couple episodes of Turbo.
I remember the Turbo, the Power Rangers movie. I watched it when it came out on VHS.
Drama and a Monster of the Week formula into an insanely successful cultural phenomenon. We're talking movies, action figures, candles, bottle openers, oh, and dozens of video games too, I guess.
Like Lightspeed Rescue. Despite having 3 separate platform versions released in the same year, these games were not just tweaked ports. They were very different games by completely different development teams.
The Game Boy Color iteration is a 2D action platformer.
The PlayStation variant is an isometric beat-em-up.
The Nintendo 64 version is a putrid cluster fart train wreck dumpster slop inferno of a vile running sewage mess.
What do you expect? It was developed for the N64, and I guarantee you the dev team had to cut out so much because of the limited capacity. Dude, the best quality one you could get on the Nintendo 64 was a 64 megabyte cartridge. That's it. 64 megabytes. Whereas your standard CD could hold 700 megabytes. Now here's the thing, CDs did load slower, but they were a hell of a lot easier to develop for than the boards that Nintendo were coming up with. And that's why a lot of people look back on, like, well, for instance, okay, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on N64 is considered superior in the gameplay, but it is considered inferior because the soundtrack is nothing but like 10-second clips of the songs on repeat for 3 minutes. That's how they saved on space. And then Resident Evil 2 as well. That's another one. I was amazed that they were able to get that down to 64 megabytes.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
It is. And the fact that the N64 had that, and it still can, and some of the better versions but when you're developing straight out the gate like this, and you don't know what you're doing on an N64 cartridge, good luck.
Yeah. It's crazy to me, some of the stuff that actually is on N64 despite that limit.
Oh, yeah.
Like Perfect Dark.
Oh, dude.
Perfect Dark's a gigantic game. For that size. And
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
For the time, pretty decent graphics and stuff.
Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah.
Jesus. And here's the thing. Rare. You want to talk... they actually had this in, like, Nintendo's biggest mess-ups. One of the biggest ones was letting Rare slip away.
Yeah.
I agree. Rare made some of the best Nintendo games.
Clearly, Nintendo taught Rare how to do it for the N64. They figured it out or something, because they were good at it.
Well, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Donkey Kong. I mean, come on, dude. Like, they were nailing it.
They definitely were the MVPs of the N64 besides Nintendo themselves.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think they might have put out more better titles than Nintendo themselves did on N64. So I can think of Mario 64, Ocarina of Time,
Majora's Mask.
There's no Metroid games on it. Star Fox 64, Super Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah. No, technically that's HAL Labs, which is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, so that's
not actually a Nintendo first party.
Technically no, because Masahiro Sakurai does not work for Nintendo directly.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was HAL Labs that developed those.
Pretty sure Pokemon Snap would have been like Nintendo, or the Pokemon Company / Game Freak, right?
Yes.
So it's not really 100% first party, even though it technically is.
Yeah. Well,
Nintendo.
Here's the thing you need to know about Rare. Rare developed, they developed GoldenEye. They developed Jet Force Gemini. They developed Blast Corps, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie. They also developed Perfect Dark, and they developed Conker's Bad Fur Day, Diddy Kong Racing, ATGs.
Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah, they literally developed like almost a dozen all-time great games for that system, and then Nintendo just let them slip away. And
a lot of people don't like Donkey Kong 64. I liked it when I played it, but I was a kid. So.
Well, it was a collectathon, and Rare even now admits that they went way too far with like the collectathon bullshit.
Who made this?
That would be Lucasfilm or LucasArts.
Doesn't say on the cartridge. I was wondering who made Shadows of the Empire.
LucasArts,
which was probably the coolest Star Wars game I had gotten to play at the time.
It's up there. I would also say
I didn't find a cooler Star Wars game, in my opinion, until I played Jedi Outcast.
I would say Pod Racing. The Pod Racing game was...
A lot of people liked it, but I wasn't a big fan of it, to be honest.
I liked it. Well, the thing is, like, the difficulty, once you figured out how everything worked, it was easy.
I only ever got to play it, like, a couple times at friends' houses, so I never got a chance to figure out how everything worked.
Boy Color one?
No! We're looking at Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue on the Nintendo 64.
We start the game, and to say we're not immediately blown away is a bit of an understatement.
There's a weird set of animations that,
MS
I
Paint
guess the
artwork.
term animation doesn't really hit the nail on the head here. It's just low-res pictures lazily shifted over a black background.
It's like we entered the interactive web domain of a hip new fruit snack circa 1997.
Just bad Lightspeed chew!
Filled with high fructose corn syrup and buyer's remorse.
Watch the attention to detail as this Ranger vehicle cleans up this green goo. I'm speechless. They truly earned that Nintendo seal of quality on this one.
That's the other thing, too. Nintendo during this era was willing to give out that seal of quality thing to anyone who was willing, like, especially from like 97 to 2000, they were willing to hand that out so easily because they just wanted games for the system so that it could move units.
We get to the main menu where we can choose from Titanium Quest and Megazord Arena. We'll jump into Titanium Quest as that's the story mode.
Yeah.
Hopefully this will be a good way
Titanium
to learn about
power.
the Rangers and the challenges that await.
We start episode 1. We're given expository dialogue over more crappy animation. Turns out the Lightspeed Rangers are about to face their toughest challenge yet, which actually we know nothing about because they haven't really told us anything yet. But they need to train.
Luckily, they have a VR training room where they can hone their skills for any situation. This being their toughest challenge yet, the team will likely take on virtual
Artwork
representation.
looks like it's like a beginner artist drawing.
It looks like Discount C-Lab 2021, and that's saying something because that's Discount like as is.
It's like I've seen people who could have easily had jobs like working as the artists for this game on like DeviantArt. But back when I saw it, I was like, man, I got a long ways to go still.
These are some of the craziest enemies and obstacles they've ever faced.
Like jiggly mucus.
33 seconds. Haven't touched gameplay, and they've already stopped trying.
It's literally Shrek's sentient shit just oozing at you, just like, what are you doing in my swamp?
I was thinking Chex Quest.
Oh yeah.
The Flemoids, they're returning.
Into VR training,
Oh,
we're
Chex
given
Man.
our very first objective. Shoot goo. Right, let's get going.
Oh no.
Lots of thoughts and emotions bubbling up right now, but Power Rangers kicking and punching sparkly projectiles out their gloves and boots, that's a brave choice. You can kick and punch to shoot back and forward using the A and B buttons.
Wait. Hold on. Is that all you can do here attack-wise?
Yes,
No form of martial arts, a string of attacks, or combos?
correct.
You're telling me they made a game based on a TV show packed with over-the-top choreographed fight scenes in which the only offensive move you have is shiny lights, you poot from your limbs?
Exactly.
That's unfortunate.
Fine! It's a Power Rangers game that technically has no hand-to-hand combat. All right, let's at least try to tackle our objectives here, right? Shoot some goo, we'll just walk on over, and holy shift into turbo, look at this walk cycle!
Not only does it look
Wow. Shift into turbo. That's a hell of a callback.
really awkward, but movement in this game is far more simplistic than other Nintendo 64 titles. With the introduction of the Nintendo 64 controller thumbstick, there was the ability to add nuanced movement in a game. You could have a slow build up to a run based on how much you were moving the stick, like in Mario 64, a game that came out 4 years before this.
But
Oh.
here, you move the stick a little, even just a bit, and it's this immediate, awkward run. At this point, we might as well be using a D-pad to control our Ranger.
Which you can do, actually. This is one of the rare N64 games that gives you player control via D-pad. Combined with shooting forwards and backwards with A and B, and not having any other inputs for this stage, this means we can technically play this level with an original NES gamepad and have just as much functionality.
Brilliant! We spend the rest of this level gracelessly
Probably wouldn't
sparkle
be
kicking goo
much less graphically impressive either.
No.
all
Is it
across this
Ramirez?
tiny map of poorly rendered city. And when we win, we get this.
Yay! More like no.
Wonderful.
Equal parts sad and hilarious.
Now that this dumpster slop is done, on to the next virtual reality training mission, our first driving stage.
How does driving feel?
Awkward! You drive constantly in one direction and slightly adjust your movement up and down the screen. Again, we're lacking nuance here, and it sucks.
What are we even supposed to be doing in this level?
Let's see, looks like our objective is to put out vehicles that are on fire with our water cannon. But honestly, I'm having way more fun just doing
the
this.
Power Ranger fire truck.
When
Oh
you
my
do
god, they've been drinking.
manage to follow your objective and douse the flamey vehicles, they seem to disintegrate cheerfully. It's like we're putting them out of
Aren't
their
all the
misery.
Power Rangers like teenagers? They're not allowed to drink.
Yeah, well, it does, just because they're not allowed to doesn't mean that they don't. I mean, hell, when I was like 16, it didn't stop me.
But you definitely should never drink and drive.
I
kids.
never did drive. That's the thing. I wasn't stupid. I had a family member get very severely injured because of a drunk driver. So no.
So far, we've had sparkly hand-foot goo removal, ricocheting, gravity-defying cars.
Yay!
What could possibly be next?
How about some Megazord action?
No way!
Boo.
Boo.
No
Take a lap.
way.
This game is very not good.
So, we're now the Megazord, and we're fighting off a gigantic villain who we don't know.
Yes, this is still all taking
Vector.
place in the VR room, or did you forget? Nothing we're doing is real, and we're still given no plot between levels.
There are power-ups that drop from the sky, special moves, and basic attacks. None of these things make the fight worthwhile.
The game enters a first-person mode where you struggle to aim your distance-based rocket attacks and do your very best to beat the big baddie.
Both you and your towering foe have regenerating health.
Yes! That, coupled with the fact that your enemies are weak and dumb as dirt on normal difficulty, means that you can literally put your controller down, leave the room, and the enemy will still not be able to kill you.
Yay.
So, the last few levels, it's safe to say that none of them have been even remotely fun.
Not entirely true.
Okay,
Anyway,
that's kind of
the levels
funny.
we played so
I
far,
mean, to be
they've all
fair, they
been
were
in some-
marketing games like this to like very young kids usually. Like Power Rangers was targeted at like, you know, basically 5 to 10 year olds.
Yeah.
I mean, like if I had this game in kindergarten, like assuming like the N64s existed when I was in kindergarten, I probably would have been pretty stoked about it, as bad as it is. You know, I would have just been like, "Yeah, Power Rangers," and been like, "Wow, this is weird, but it's fun," because I was a dumb kid. So.
Yeah.
Thankfully, in kindergarten, though, I had better games than this.
Thank God.
Wacky VR training room. Surely, once we get out of VR, we're going to be treated to better graphics, gameplay, and awesome real-world Power Ranger scenarios.
Right on. So our first level out of virtual reality is...
More of the same. It's just that first goo level, except now you're clearing trees from a path with your sparkly punches and kicks. Oh, look, a sign. Looks like we're near...
For some
City.
reason,
Apparently,
there are
the
ninjas
reason we're
trying to
clearing this
stop you from
road is
clearing the
because a
trees.
giant tornado water monster is attacking. We know this because we witnessed a cutscene that provided us with just the most bare-bones plot imaginable.
And then we have to go into the subway. Our objectives? Shoot! Silly heads. Rescue! Commander Keen and... Rock.
In the state...
Oh God.
Make sure to rescue that rock.
That's not a rock.
Rescue! Commander Keen and...
That's the orb.
Rock.
In this stage, we found out that the enemy AI could have used a little more work.
Far more A than I.
The whole game could use a little more work.
We also found my favorite flavor of generic off-brand soda, 7-Oop. Boop, 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 boop.
We rescue civilians that are just hanging around, waving their arms near the subway tracks, and then we rescue a rock.
Oh, it is just.
And we're off and rolling back on the road in another driving sequence. But we're not in VR. Does that mean they're simply reusing assets again and again and hoping that we didn't notice?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Calm down, buddy. Surely here in the real world, colliding with other vehicles has repercussions.
Nope.
They still just kind of bounce away, don't they?
You'll have to play this same driving stage multiple times throughout a single
I
playthrough.
definitely played games on Super Nintendo that were almost the same, like, quality, like, I guess is this. I'm talking like, you could have possibly made this on Super Nintendo. The
With
only thing
just
that makes it not previous gen is the fact that there's, like, some three-dimensional assets there.
They could have pulled this shit off in mode 7.
Minor changes. Maybe you'll need to put out some fires, clean things up, rescue curiously large citizens, or simply just drive for 4 minutes without dying.
Actually, there's a great strategy we found for beating the timed vehicle section.
Yeah, just don't move.
The correct way to play this is to not play at all. Actually, that's a great philosophy for the entirety of Lightspeed Rescue.
Because the game starts recycling assets and ideas more and more.
I can figure out why this
The
game
entirety of
failed so
Lightspeed-
easily. Marked by failure, even back then.
Rescue.
Because the game starts recycling assets and ideas more and more. You'll play the same top-down stages multiple times, the same driving stages, and then more Megazord fighting in the exact same arena.
Hey, look, another battle where you can walk away from the controller and the enemy can't win. Awesome quality game right there.
To be fair, there was one super brief moment where we got excited about a different gameplay sequence, a fully 3D third-person vehicle flight section.
And then we played it.
You fly around the city saving, get this, the Power Rangers after they were tossed into different parts of the city. They are the Lightspeed Rescue Force. We are rescuing them. This team is supposed to be the group rescuing everyone else. Why do the rescuers need rescuing?
Why does the Yellow Ranger have a much deeper voice when we pick her up?
All right. Why do we have to replay the stage picking up boxes? Oh, look, here's one just outside, floating by a building. Nice. And if you fly too close to the boxes, you won't be able to pick them up. I have no idea why.
You may be surprised to learn that this game is riddled with visual glitches. I know.
Oh,
I know.
really?
No,
Oh.
I'm as shocked as you
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Shane. There are visuals in this game that were actually kind of stumped as to whether they were done purposely or not. Just look at the enemies you face in the top-down sections.
There's your basic grunt enemies whose walk cycles look even more hilarious than the Rangers.
There's these blue shooty fellows that have an unfortunate limp.
And then you've got bouncy bouncy green men.
And then there's the bee people. Just go ahead and take it in. I mean, we don't... There's no answers.
Look, it's very, very likely that this game was rushed to market. All these quick asset flips may have been necessary. A Power Rangers series is sometimes super quick, so it's likely that the development team had to strike while the iron was hot and release the game before the Power Rangers became a different cast and theme entirely. But the lack of polish here is amazing.
That brings us to the crown jewel of the game's fast-paced design nature.
Still, though,
Let's talk a little more about these
Didn't like a run of like the Power Rangers usually last like a couple seasons?
Sometimes. That's the thing.
At least a couple of years to develop.
Well, this thing, the original Power Rangers lasted, I think, 3 or 4 years. I can't remember. And then, of course, most of the original cast moved over to Zeo. Then most of the original cast moved over to... Most of that cast moved over to Turbo. But then after that, it's just been a ever-evolving, like, ever-rotating cycle. I think it was Power Rangers in Space and Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. They actually had the two, like, overlap. You know, the two different series overlap and, like, go on adventures together and stuff. Which I thought was actually, was a cool idea. I remember when Zach was watching that, and I actually watched it. I was like, huh, this is actually pretty engaging. I was going to say, like, Power Rangers in Space and Power Rangers Lost Galaxy actually had some, like, pretty harrowing stuff. Also, the Yellow Ranger in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy was hot. And also, you remember that movie, Not Another Teen Movie?
Yeah, I think so.
You remember the naked chick in it?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I actually ever watched it except for on TV.
Okay, well, you wouldn't have seen it then. But there was a naked chick throughout the entire film. That was the Yellow Ranger.
Wait, like the exhibitionist transfer student or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, now I remember.
Okay, yes.
She is on the TV version, obviously. They just had to cut around, like, actually showing.
Mm-hmm. She was the Yellow Ranger, and then there was, like, big controversy about it, but they were just like, we're keeping her. So what?
Cutscenes. Hey, Jerry, I finished cutting out that one ranger on my computer. But there's these blue pixels around it. Should I get rid of them?
How long will it take you?
Oh, like 10 seconds.
Do you work hourly?
Yeah.
No.
Nintendo 64 games were not known for full motion video due to space limits on the cart. Some games had them, but it was actually pretty rare, so we weren't expecting a moving masterpiece.
You all missed the prime opportunity there. A prime opportunity to throw in a rare joke. Like, literally, it's a layup right here.
Some games had them, but it was actually pretty rare.
Yeah, they should have flashed up the Rare logo whenever they did that.
Oh, I'm not telling y'all how to do your job, but for me, right there, if I was writing the script, and it was just like, and instances of this were pretty rare. We're talking about the N64. And there you go.
It's like, what was the Rare logo like?
It was it was basically the blue square with like the gold outline with like the R, the gold R in the middle.
So we weren't expecting a moving masterpiece as far as story delivery was concerned, but come on, look at this.
The cutscenes look like coloring book pages brought to life with a freaking monkey's paw. The Rangers look like they're severely cramped up and need to be put out of their misery. All this while they deliver the most mundane lines with very weirdly placed emphasis.
Typhonus will
Flood!
the city will
Get
the Green Ranger back. But right now we have to
Save!
the entire city.
We'll delay the flood while you save the people.
I wish we could tell you that these cutscenes
Diablo was found! One of the coins in the crater of the... I'm sorry.
Gotta put a compressor on your microphone if you're gonna be doing shit like that, man.
I'm sorry.
flesh out the individual Ranger
The return for Let's See Rescue! Blue Ranger.
characters, or at the very least deliver a fully thought out, coherent
It is a meteorite. Okay. It's a rock.
Nope, the story is as thin as tissue paper. It just barely adds enough reason for certain levels to exist. Apparently, there is no room for explanation or
Titanium
anything nearing
power.
character development.
Some characters don't even look like they do in the show. It's as if the developers had no idea what these folks were actually supposed to look like. As if they made the game and finished it before the show started filming, which, now that I'm thinking about it, that's a very distinct possibility.
The game takes about 2 hours to beat if you really take your time, and the cutscenes take up a full
Awesome!
60 minutes of that. Oh, and there's just one looping, low-quality
getting
music track
away.
playing through every section of exposition.
The music is bad, and sound effects and cutscenes are near non-existent. Here, this is a Megazord powering up. The music should be pumping us up as we hear the weighty parts of the Zord connecting. Instead, we get this.
We can probably do better than that. Let's give it a shot.
What are you talking about? We don't know the theme song to the show.
What do you mean? Everyone knows the Power Rangers theme song.
This is Lightspeed Rescue.
Follow my lead.
Okay.
Go Rangers. To be honest, that music didn't sound bad for that scene. I'm not
Not
really
the
sure
worst.
what they were talking about there.
It's not the worst, but it did reek of generic. But I will say this: I still prefer the original theme song. That still the best Power Rangers theme song, bar none. Go go Power Rangers!
Tasty ass riff.
It's such a great lick.
Do you think they bought it?
I think so.
Well,
I
that
didn't
right
buy
here
it.
is about the best you're gonna get out of Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue.
Boring gameplay, repeated assets, a story that is barely delivered with terrible, terrible cutscenes. Sure, the Power Rangers franchise has been around a while and had its fair share of decent video game tie-ins, but Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue?
It's just bad.
Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't look very good, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I was gonna pick the Gundam game, but that one's a little longer.
Well, honestly, oh god, Superman Man of Steel. Both Superman games, Superman 64 and Superman Man of Steel, both are freaking terrible. Ugh.
I just don't know how you're supposed to make a good video game when you play as a protagonist that's not hurt by anything but kryptonite. You know?
Well, once again, I think there is a way to make it that way, but it's very difficult. And my thing with it is, if Rocksteady, the people who made the Arkham games, couldn't make it happen, I have nothing left to say. Also, the fact that the Suicide Squad game got delayed so much because the publisher wanted to turn it into a live service and basically demanded that Rocksteady make it a live service game because they wanted to make money and all that. We were denied a great game and instead got tripe. And I know it's pointless and yeah, old man yells at clouds. Yeah, I know. I don't care. It's my opinion. I'm going to say it. I don't care if you find it annoying. If you find it annoying, prove me wrong. All that being said, though, being reminded of Power Rangers and how much I loved it when I was a kid, going back and watching it as an adult, I'm like, I could see why my parents thought that this was stupid. But at the same time, as a kid, it's just like, it's literally like ninjas fighting space monsters. I mean, come on, dude. With giant fuck-all robots.
We were too young for, like, martial arts films, because most of them, like, our parents would have considered too violent, you know?
Yeah, even...
Like, they did it in a way that they toned the violence down just enough that it was, like, okay for young kids to still watch, basically.
Yeah. Also, I will say this, in terms of, like, villain deaths and all that, you know, how they, like, would explode and everything like that, you know, like, and then they fall down in a big explosion. There was one that was actually kind of brutal. It was in, I remember it was the finale for Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. Zach was watching it. I came in, and this dude, like, was fighting, like, the main bad. It was a one, I think, I can't remember her name. Drakina, I think was her name. I can't remember. She basically was like transformed into this like unstoppable monster, and he decided that he was going to pull the sacrifice play, and he basically got this thing. It was like this big suit thing that attached to like the top half of his body, and it had like a hook mechanism. It like latched onto her and pulled her close, and he pointed the two cannons that were on top of it directly at her, right in her face. And she's just like, and she's saying something like, "You fool, you do this and you'll die, and you'll get caught in the blast too." And he's like, "I know." And then basically you just see like big explosion, and then there's bits of her laying all over the place, and like the monster version of her laying all over the place with like green blood. I was like, ooh, damn. That's pretty brutal. Also, yeah, just Power Rangers. What a trip, dude. What a trip down memory lane. Thank you for that, Steven. Hopefully this satiates your desire to have us watch some re-res Just Bad Games. If y'all enjoyed this and y'all want to see more from re-res, feel free to let us know. I'm sure we're going to hear from Steven. He's probably going to want us to watch more of these, which I'm not against. I would be okay to watch more of these. So, till next time, everyone, signing off. I'm Nate.
I am Nick.
Y'all be good people. Be safe. Peace.